Good evening, friends. Very warm welcome to all of you. Today we are going to have a very interesting conversation with Mr. Sauvik Banerjjee. He is the Global Chief Executive Officer of Resolve Limited, which is making solutions for engagement of e-commerce and offline customers. He has been a former CTO of Tata New and Tata Digital since its inception. Mr. Banerjjee is a tech futurist and believes that technology is junk if it doesn't impact human lives. He has contributed 22 years in building of different internet platforms, internet businesses, internet technologies across 4 continents and over 500 internet businesses. Internet platforms across various enterprises of different kinds, SMEs, MSMEs, as well as large corporations. Over 100 e-commerce platforms launched across UK, Europe, US, Southeast Asia, and has built from scratch India's two most loved digital platforms, Reliance Jio and Tata Click, which are purely homemade in India. He has passion for artificial intelligence, neural networks, and technology evangelization. He is obsessed with behavioral data and futurism of technology. And again, built by homegrown individuals and engineers of India is a very important topic for him. Sauvik focuses on behaviorisms, technology futurism, and where technology is headed with newest of tech verticals from metaverse at the core. Today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic on what and how will technology shape the planet by 2050. Are we building technology in an ethical, disciplined way for our next two generations? And he is going to share his views about this. He strongly believes in giving back to the society, and that is why we have the pleasure of him being with us and he taking time out of his busy schedule to talk with us. He is an author and he has written a lot of books on this topic. So I request Mr. Banerjjee to now come and share with us about his ideas and his journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you. Can I use this? Good evening. Okay, that sounds like a good evening without a chai. Good evening. Good evening. That makes more sense. Saturday evening, I must thank you all. Firstly, rather than watching Khaki on Netflix, or rather than watching all the good things you want to do on a Saturday evening, having adda with your friends, you're taking the time off to listen to a white-bearded tech futurist. I can guarantee you one thing: I am not going to bore you with PPT. It'll be important to share. You see a lot of people doing a lot of self-help talks on social media. And I always tell them, what have you built? And generally, I don't come out and allow my former that role, because that line is very important to a lot of people at your age. And I think there's a mixed bag group of people out here. If you haven't had the risk of building something, then you can't talk about something. Or else it'll be at a very bird's eye, 90,000 feet view. So, let me give you a quick 60-second background. Accidental techie, professional sportsman for 18 years, had the pleasure to represent the country in under 19, played 2 test matches, 3 one-dayers, went on to play with my dearest idol Saurav Ganguly under Bengal, and he was debuting. So life was not technology. Rohan Gavaskar was my best friend, still is. Zahir Khan was there with me in MRF. So life was about outswing, cover drive, hitting a six in Eden Gardens. So life was good. Till you realized there is no IPL. 350 rupees per match is what you get. You can't sustain a life being a cricketer. And I realized I wasn't good enough to play the blues of India. That was the main reason where I moved. Luckily, it took me to England because I used to play cricket, and father was an academician, mother was an entrepreneur, and then I met my wife. She is an actor, editor, woman in front of the camera, and I realized that tech organically, accidentally crept in. When it crept in, there were few things I was ready to do. Now today's topic is a new brand born. It has two connotations. I will talk about what does a brand mean to you and what does an individual. I am Sauvik. What do I mean to you guys? About all of you are standing in front of me, hearing and Googling about me. What do I mean to you? Or I can say what does any individual mean to him or her where they are standing today? A student, a working professional, a CEO, to extent like a brand like an Apple or a Starbucks or a Zara or a Microsoft. What does the word brand mean to you? And more you will realize, you will see that a noun has become a verb. Example, I'll WhatsApp you. WhatsApp was supposed to be a noun. Get me a Starbucks. Did you go to Zara? So you see the connotation is changing. So the concept of a brand from an individual who's a social media influencer to an enterprise multi-billion-dollar brand, which Howard Schultz and Ratan Tata has brought into India, Starbucks has completely changed. When Bisleri gets sold, it's a noise. When Air India comes back home to Tata's, it's the brand's movement. It means that something will affect a human being. Amidst this model of perception is what today's topic is at the juncture. So let me start by showing you where we are today. Okay. Here, look at the logos. Out of these logos, Aditya, can you see? Do you want to come here? Can you guys see? You might be, there's pixelation on the numerical value, and I will tell you what they are. See, these are all your trillion-dollar either market cap or trillion-dollar brands. We all know there is a fight between Microsoft and Apple from eons. Meta and Tencent are playing the same game. Amazon, we know, is a trillion-dollar brand. And now what I'm missing out here is Tesla. I haven't put Tesla. Can you tell me why I haven't put Tesla? Why Tesla I haven't put? Because as of 3rd of December 2020, he's lost $100 billion. Because the market cap is not your revenue. When you talk about a brand, then it is not only your revenue, it is the market cap, right? 112 companies of Tata Group, including TCS, who aspires to be a $50 billion organization. TCS's market cap is 400 billion. Market cap is the opportunity on the basis of which you buy a stock of TCS from Bombay Stock Exchange and National Stock Exchange. So have clarity, because you are marketing, branding folks, have clarity of what a brand represents. Have clarity when an FTX by Bankman-Friedman goes down, the whole crypto industry goes down. So what is perception in branding? It's very critical. All are fine. Tencent is a big group, but do you see the dominance of two brands amidst this gigantic giants? What are those two brands? No, it's not Alibaba. It is actually McDonald's and Louis Vuitton. A burger company and a premium fashion house is spending billions of dollars on ad spends, and the revenue, and they're profitable. It's not that certain amount of profitability cannot be discussed. Profitability is in the crux of business. Actually, there is no word called startup. When people say, I run a startup, I sometimes get a little agitated. Why would you say you run a startup? You're running a business, right? You're employing people. You're selling a product or a goods or a service. And then you want to make money out of it. So why are you calling yourself startup? Why aren't you calling yourself, I run a business? Because you know what? There has been mind space of certain, I wouldn't say all, certain venture capitalists who have put in money in a non-profitable organization, and that has become a few, which has led to profitability taking a backseat, whereas the brand grows and it's still loss-making. Amazon India is loss-making. Flipkart is a loss-making brand. You know what's happening to Paytm's shares. They're listed as a loss-making organization. So, when you now do the ad spends, you don't do out-of-homes. How many people know what is out-of-homes? OOH. Okay. Out-of-homes is hoardings. Hoardings on the road. That's an industry which has existed. How many people now see internet and OTT series on hoardings? Okay. Very good. Well, they are internet companies. Why do they need to have a physical advertising? The reason being, offline is still the world's biggest revenue earner. Nike on Amazon, Adidas on Amazon, still makes less money than they do it on the stores. People thought that certain categories will diminish. Happened ulta. More online became prominent, more offline became prominent in certain categories. Not for books, not for perfumes. But you can't buy a cycle online. You might order your shoe if you will never ever grow again. But for my 11 and a 7-year-old, I have 2 boys, I can't keep buying online because their leg size will keep growing. So you still have brick and mortar. That leads to the fundamental question, what is today's brand representation in a futuristic, tech-driven planet? Here's a question which you all can answer, and don't shy away from answering and shouting out. If I have to launch today a e-commerce company and I want to sell shoes, say suppose I want to sell Indian ethnic wear shoes, mojris and all kinds. Where's the first place I will advertise today? Any words? Say that loudly. Outside the party. Okay. Where else? Second will be print. Okay, now I'll give you one tenet to that. It's a millennial focused brand. Where will you advertise? Where in social media? Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Great answer. What else? Bumblebee. Why wouldn't you do it in ShareChat? Why wouldn't you do it in India's social networks? Why wouldn't you do it in a noisy Twitter? Options are there because you can split 1 lakh rupees into 5 channels, but you will always want the boost of that piece of the branding happens where the optics are more. Today, a branding team, an advertiser, would he or she think Twitter as a first platform of advertising? Why? It has become political. Excellent answer. But 6 months back, when Jack Dorsey was the CEO, would you have? Maybe. So you understand this model. The model of offline and online are marrying and turning gray. Today, that's required for aspirational brands. Does Zara advertise on any social media? Does Zara advertise on any out of homes? Do you ever see a Zara advert on television? Do you hear Zara adverts on Radio Mirchi? Why? Have you thought about it? There is a word in your curriculum you might have come across called recall. It's called brand recall. That doesn't happen with a logo. Your cappuccino in Starbucks is bad. You will not go to Starbucks. A brand is as good as the products, goods or services. If you like the Zara jacket, you will go back and create and sign up for the loyalty program. If you like flying in Vistara, you will be a Club Vistara member. And you will not fly Indigo or Indian Airlines or all the other Tata Group airlines if you have a brand recall. In this multi-trillion-dollar industry, what is important is the product market fit. A product requires to have recall. You can spend millions of dollars on Instagram Reels promoting it. You can promote a lot of YouTube's paid adverts. But if the product clarity is not there, you will never go back to that brand again. Those are the hygienes. It has never changed over the last 100 years in marketing and advertising. It is not changing. Give you one more example. When you buy organic bottled water in a restaurant or a train station, which is the first brand which comes to your mind? Why? You know why? Because people think if I drink Bisleri, I will not fall sick. Quality. Why does Bisleri ensures without a single advertising that ISO certifications are highlighted in Calibri font next to the barcode? See, you got to get into the finer details if you're going to learn the art of branding and positioning your brands. No, the water. वो बना क्या रहा है? वो पानी से you will not have typhoid. Don't focus on the upper layer. When they come to you, ki brand my product. You yourself have to get convinced. Today, George Clooney does not advertise anything barring Longines and when he was doing Tagwar before Shah Rukh Khan took over. He believed that the product he's advertising, he himself uses it. He puts it on a contract. For 1 year, I will use it. If I think this brand is worth representing, then that's what Shaquille O'Neal does. That's what Mark Cuban does. Mark Cuban, when he made his millionaire from broadcast.com, owned the basketball team, he didn't put a penny. He said, 1 year I will do a convertible note. I will not put in cash. Let me see if there is genuine value in the fans to this club. And today he owns that basketball club in NBA. And these are multi-billion-dollar people who will think twice before putting that money in. So that what I'm trying to establish the point is the concept of a brand, don't let it dilute. A brand is as good as that product. If Air India misses flying times, whether it's Tata, whether it's Birla, whether it's Reliance owns it, or whether it's Etihad or Emirates Group owns it, the brand Air India will erode. Brand has two suffixes and prefixes to it. Erosion and upliftment. The prefix is upliftment, the suffix is erosion. These are two words. Suffix means the word which comes after, prefix was the word which comes before. Very, very critical. In that note, let's move. Now the brand establishment has to go through this nightmare. Think of the middle funnel. It's easier for me to see it here. Think of the middle funnel. We have a changing notion of work thanks to COVID. Hybrid, people don't want to come to offices anymore. What is that doing to you guys? Great convenience. I can work out of a tier 3 city and get the Bombay salary, but you will never be able to make a relationship with your peers and colleagues. So when you are establishing that brand, how do you do brainstorming and how do you do whiteboarding? How do you create that tagline? Zoom or Google Meet mein to nahi hoga. What is important? The changing notion of work. So the industry has to deal with this. Not because of the downside to them, because the world has evolved in 2.5 years and pivoted a decade of what we were supposed to be in 2030. One question. During COVID, all of us are in lockdown, in our houses. What if India's internet speed was 1 MB? Where will your meds come from? How will NetMeds Farm Easy 1 MG work? How will Zepto, Instamart, Big Basket work? How will Flipkart, Amazon, Myntra, Tata Click work? This is happening. I'm a messenger. I'm a messenger of observation. The observation framework has to be part of your frontal cortex. If you don't observe, the guy who's observing will take you over. Look what's happening. Decline in fertility rates. When was the last Japanese brand you heard? You don't. Yeah. When was that? How old is that brand? 30 years. Thank you, Aitha. Because Japan's fertility rates have dropped. They are not having kids. The country is shrinking. There might not be a single Japanese left because they are not having kids. That's how China's GDP is plateauing, because they put so much of boundaries and barriers. Why are so many advertisements of Canada and many countries in the world asking you to migrate and you will pay and you will get citizenship? Because declining fertility rates. Our 1.42 billion or 142 crores is ulta ho gaya, our strength in COVID. Fifth economy, jumping towards the third economy of the planet. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with technological unemployment. Genuinely true, but there's more employment happening. Technological unemployment means if you have not evolved how many people, you're all brand and advertising students, how many people have put money and boosted a post on Instagram, Facebook and Google for your friend or for yourself? Thank you. 4 of you. It's important. It's important. I'll give you a real life example. Badshah was a marketeer. To compete with Honey Singh, he was the first one to go to YouTube and say, allow me the console of putting money and boosting my songs. That was 12 years back. Today he partners with YouTube. He logged into the YouTube console and the creating ads was still there. Nobody was doing it in the music industry. What Spotify did, Daniel Ek allowed the labels to boost the artist so their song comes in the top 30 playlists in Spotify. That's important for you to understand how you brand in this current madness which is existing. On one hand, you will see an emerging middle class, India. On the other hand, you will see wealth bent. How does that brand exist? A brand, international brand, which is, example, H&M, is premium, not supremely premium. In the US, H&M is premium. Because the middle class positions which brand they deem to be premium. Zara is not premium. Zara is, those who have been to US who know. So the positioning of each brand changes based on geographical variance. If there is a war-torn country coming out of war, retail will kick in. Established retail brands will not, because their pricing model, a Nike RJ65 cannot be bought if it is in 2025 in Ukraine. They've come out of a war. But if an Indian brand goes ahead, say Campus, and deploys their category in a post-war-torn nation, their brand will pivot. Because they are making the product with 1/10 of that price. So positioning of the brand are based on also geopolitical situations. I'll give you a simple example. If you look at Indian retail overall, you will not find a Cotton World or a Fab India in the wet parts of the country, where the monsoon is extensive. In the winter, the longest winter in the country gets, which is the north, northeast, northwest, and northern corner of the belt, there aren't a Cotton World and a Fab India. Why? Because the weather doesn't encourage. You'll have a North Face probably, an international store out there. You'll have more decathlons out there. Because geopolitical and weather changes the way brand is. You'll have a lot of coffee brands out there. You will see a lot of Maggi in the mountains of and the foothills of Himalayas. Understand the positioning of a brand in a geopolitical situation changes continuously. And then you have this entire technological, juggernaut influencing the mind share of every individual. What do you see? How many brand sponsored adverts do you see in your Facebook newsfeed? Hardly any. You will see, if you scroll 14 scrolls, you will see 4. If you Instagram, you do about 18 scrolls, you will see 7 or 10. And those two are your preference and categories, because they are listening. They follow your thumb. So if you have to brand, you have to understand thumb architecture. Why is an infinite scroll important and why is a side scroll important? Example, Tinder invented a feature of thumb scroll, right and left. Advertisers' delight, it became. Now, every other app has copied that feature set. Advertising world said to them, it's easier to do this and quickly scroll and move with the carousel on the left or right than an infinite 14 scroll below. So there is a concept called thumb architecture in today's world. Advertisers love it, because the click stream of thumb architecture is attributable and tracked in analytic softwares. Okay, now let me give you a certain few areas where we are heading towards. We all keep hearing about artificial intelligence, right? There's something called artificial narrow intelligence and artificial super intelligence. If I ask you, give me an example of basic AI on your phone. Give me some responses. Siri, great answer, Aditya. On your phone, not Alexa or Google Home. On your phone, give me a basic example of AI. Google Search Assistant on your phone, great. What else? YouTube recommendations, great. Yes, what else? Keyboard suggestions, great. What else? Sorry, say that again loudly. Reminders, yeah, partly, because it's semantic. Is it personalized you're referring to, or is it generic? Big Billion Day, 10% discount, early day access is not. What's your name? Siddharth, you are eligible for 26% to 35% discount on campus shoes in Flipkart because you got 25,000 Flipkart coins. Is it personalized? Because you have 30,000 new Flipkart coins. Personalized? Narrow intelligence. Netflix feed, if you have 3 profiles. I have my profile, Kasturi has a profile, my elder son has a profile, my younger son has a profile. Does my elder son and younger son gets to see what we are watching? Do they get recommendations or based on what they are watching? Do they get continuously recommendations what the genre they are watching and what I am watching? Does Netflix give me that? Yes. If I keep on watching action, I will keep on. That's called N equal to 1, narrow intelligence. An advertiser and a marketeer has to learn it. Brand positioning, how will you position your new OTT series if you think that your genre is literally getting not seen? If comedy is not getting seen in Hotstar and Sony Live and OZ and they can't do narrow intelligence of AI, your recommendation will overkill. Your algorithm will kill your preference. So today's advertisers are learning narrow intelligence. If I love horror, should Khaki still appear if Khaki was not asked by Netflix and it wasn't a Netflix original? It will not appear. Absolutely right. That's artificial narrow intelligence. What is artificial super intelligence? Any example, whatever comes to mind, just go by the word. Instagram feeds. Hold that thought. Say it a little loudly so that everybody can hear. Hold that thought. Suggestive buying. Great. Images made by AI. Are you referring to DALI and OpenAI? Hold that thought. Sorry? Tesla cars. Who said that? Say it loudly. Tesla cars. No. Different things. Just don't say things. Think and say. Artificial super intelligence, I asked. Say it loudly. Proximity advertisements. Proximity of location, right? Fantastic answer. Why? Correct. That means it is not narrow intelligence. The advertiser of today, it is not N equal to 1, N being Sauvik. That means I am in a geozone of pin code in Vastrapur. When the car move in, I get a ping, a push notification on Amazon or a Flipkart saying, what's your name? Anisha, you are eligible to go to the Skechers. That's a geozone based recommendation. That's artificial super intelligence. Suggestive buying, Kasturi, the suggestive buying when it's meant for a segment of people. Say suppose married, kids, regular shopper on Amazon gets to see these sort of dresses. Suggestive buying on a category level is artificial narrow intelligence, those recommendations. You said DALI and OpenAI. We'll come to that. Hold that thought. That moves one level above. That what we are observing and calling is not here. That we are calling is primarily remote automation of AI. Today we called what? We call automation and we put a stop to it. Automation of ticketing, automation of UPI, automation of payments, we're doing that. But when you are asking the AI, here's a tree, here's a little kid, draw me some river, and AI understands based on keywords and depicts a whole picture, and AI understands the entire script and depicts the next Hero Honda advert, the last Hero Honda advert, which is produced in Paris and Germany was without a human intervention. That is giga artificial intelligence based on automation, is what Elon Musk's OpenAI is, and is an advertiser's delight. Because you know what the advertisers are saying? The Leo Burnett's, the Wonderman, the Group M's and the WPPs of the world. What will we do? It's scary? It is going to be there. Now, how advertisers use that and make great positioning of brands is up to them. But great answer. I genuinely think that the advertising world has to go through this cohort. See, what do you advertise in a Money 2.0? How many times do we go to an ATM in a week in today's day and age? Hardly. Aditya says hardly. Any other? How many times do you go to the ATM? Which I still go maybe once a month. There are some things I need cash to be at home and in my wallet. But how many times? Compared to 2008 or 2010. Yeah, and why is that? Why are we calling it Money 2.0? Why is Money 2.0 important for an advertiser? Money 2.0 is the MDR, and you should know these things. Google Pay doesn't make any money. So how will Google Pay make money? Because the MDR, the government has slashed. You can't make money on UPI because it's a peer-to-peer. It's a transfer-to-transfer. It's a network backbone with the unified payment interface with your Aadhaar ID assigned to a bank account or a card. Have complete transparency.
They're making money from likes of Airtel and others.
Coming there. What are they doing? Now they're saying the more transaction Aditya and Sauvik has, because they are senior leaders of the industry, their GPay and PhonePe wallet affinity is important. So what does the intelligence understand? His wallet is, he's paying electricity, he's splitting bills with his friends at restaurant, he's paying his kirana wala, he's also paying his driver. Okay, that's his wallet affinity. 5,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees transactions, 2,000 rupees to 2,000, 3,000 rupee transactions. We will prompt them those sort of rewards on GPay. What Cred is not doing without intelligence is what Google Pay is doing with intelligence, because they are Google. They own the biggest AI brain in the world called DeepMind. That's an advertiser's delight. YouTube recommendations are powered by DeepMind. That's Money 2.0 for advertisers. I could go on this for hours, but I'll stop here for paucity of time. Why is there so much noise about this? There's a lot of noise, right? Metaverse, the whole organization called Facebook is branded in themselves called Meta, right? If I ask you how old is the concept of a metaverse, any idea, any guesses? Say it loudly, everybody has to hear you. There's no shying. And why do you say that? Okay. Anybody from this?
Matrix movie was what I remember.
Great answer. And anybody?
Counter-Strike as a game was one of my references.
What's your name? Siddharth. He's answered it. The gaming world has been in metaverse for over a decade. What is the concept of a metaverse? It's a mixed reality. It's reality. You are playing with real people. But it's actually augmented and virtual reality mixed. If you put virtual, it needs a headset. That's the reason it hasn't picked up. Augmented reality doesn't require a headset. It's mixed reality in a real-time world where millions of people are doing normal things. The gaming world cracked it. Example, Epic Games. Example, Halo. Example, Call of Duty. Where millions of kids and us are playing. Our youngsters are doing the same with Rec Room. Our youngsters are doing the same with Roblox. With Minecraft, when they create groups to build buildings. Facebook recognizes that. So metaverse has been in play. Now what are we going to genuinely see? We're genuinely going to see what Walmart has did. Check the Walmart video on YouTube. The metaverse Walmart video on YouTube. Advertisers, aspirant marketers should see it. They've plugged commerce of Walmart into their mixed reality. So I can go, I don't have to go to the Walmart store. Example, I will convert it in Indian context. I don't have to go to D-Mart is a better example, or Geomart. D-Mart, I don't have to go, but I will get a virtual D-Mart store of Powai, where I see the grocery section, then I see the frozen food section, I see the milk and dessert section, I see the rice and dal section, and I see for non-veg, I see the meat and egg, whatever. Now, you browse, explore exactly the same catalog in a mixed reality world, and then you check out through a normal commerce model. That's where tangible retail metaverses will move and are moving towards. EdTech will become an extremely important part. Web 3.0, anybody understands or read Google or Wikipedia of Web 3.0? Why is it important for marketers and web advertisers? Okay. What is Web 2.0? Everybody uses it every minute. You go to a browser, whether it's Chrome or Safari, you do a search or you put the URL of the website, www.agio.com. Or in Google search, you say, Tata Air India Vistara. Now, the point is, Web 3.0 is going to be without the concept of a URL. No, it's not app. It will be a browser based, but without the concept of a URL. What URL will be? Web 2.0 is going to be there, but Web 3.0 is also a separate parallel world. The browser stays, but the browser morphs into a token-based, experience-based search engine, say Google search. And every website, trillions of websites will get to that transition, not tomorrow, in the next 7 to 8 to 10 years. What the concept of a browser was in 1999, it has changed, right? People who are advertisers must use the browser called Brave. Firstly, it's virus unaffected, and Brave, for using the browser you get coins. What a genius marketeer. And then for using the browser you become loyalty points. And then from the loyalty points you can buy and redeem things. The casino world loves them. So Brave has become very popular in eastern part and the southern part of US and various East European and European countries, because what else do you want? I will keep browsing and I'll keep earning money. And then I'll redeem. So the advertisement world is changing. The marketing world is changing. The MarTech, AdTech world is changing. How many of you have kept your location services off on your phone? The answer is no. The global location services is on. How are you doing Zomato and Uber and Ola then? That I have switched it on. You switched on of an app. Have you ever gone to your global settings and checked your location services? Data privacy, right? Every app you're signing on to, you're giving your OTP and your phone number. It's your explicit consent. The advertiser knows that. If I get the phone number, which is verified by an Aadhaar ID, what does the advertiser do? Bombard you with SMS. As a result, you go to Vodafone, Airtel and say, I want it to be D&D. What does the advertiser do? He starts sending you push notifications. You switch off, you can't switch off your push notifications on your favorite app, or else your food alerts won't come. What did the advertisers do when all of them were sick and tired of push notifications? They married and integrated WhatsApp, and WhatsApp, you can't switch off WhatsApp notification now. Then half of your day is gone. Think the evolution of advertisers' brains. You give them throw a challenge, data privacy, done, we'll do PN. They cracked web push, which is equal to a push notification. If you use Google Chrome, You will get an alert which is equivalent to a push notification on a browser. The advertisers and the marketers cracked it. Not the software technology engineers cracked it. Then what happens is, okay, fine, I will close all the alerts. I will block all pop-ups. Fine. I'll integrate you on WhatsApp. I will promote things on WhatsApp. WhatsApp will make money, and the brands are happy to pay the dollar there. Think the continuous, and why, and all of this is happening in the last 10 years. Last 100 years, we started with out-of-homes hoarding. Now the advertisers are saying, if I have to put hoardings, I will put the internet company's part on the hoarding so that he sees it and downloads the app. How many times you see the QR code on the hoarding? Think about the reasons why these things are happening around you. Take a back seat and think and question every goddamn thing what is happening around the world. Because the advertisement team is taking charge with the tech guys across the world. We still, ad tech is the most talked about tech platforms. Google Firebase, Adobe Experience Cloud, MoEngage, Google's entire analytics stack. Consumer internet, metaverses, love these guys. Anybody who's creating a startup in this ecosystem for ad tech are pivoting. At the end of the day, the product and the service can't hide at the corner of a shop behind a building. Unless and until they are consumed, businesses won't work. And advertising technology and marketing technology and branding technologies are a horizontal. Could be agriculture, could be manufacturing, automotive, retail, financial services, fintech, banking. But advertising is horizontal. Marketing is horizontal. And the tech and the advertising is completely horizontal. Now, let's look at where we are moving with the advent of EdTech. How many people are jaded with the idea of Byju's? How many people think it won't work anymore after 5 years? Yeah, absolutely. How many people will think that Coursera and Udemy will cease to exist in the next 10 years? And you're right, and I'll tell you why. Because ad tech platforms will become repositories. You will have your own cloud. You will have your own content. And the cloud costs will become so cheaper by the advertisers of a Amish book or a course curriculum. You will have your own cloud operating education repository. You already have the device. You already have a cloud account. You went to Byju's and Top Scholar and Coursera and Udemy to learn. In 10 years' time, in a metaverse, you will be taught in real time by a humanoid in virtual mode probability and history of English literature in a real-time digital clone. Now the advertisers are thinking, if that happens, how will the digital clone's accent look like? How will the digital clone's voice look like? How will the work on language and dialects and accents? The way somebody speaks English who's got a Gujarati schooling background will be very different from the way somebody speaks English who comes from a Tamil schooling background as the first language. So advertisers are thinking multilingual capabilities. How do we attack? So there, all of this will come back ultimately to metaverse. Because mixed reality is going to, because we are jaded with one-dimensional screen navigation. Why are every movie getting you a 3D and a 4DX experience? Have you noticed in the last few years? Every movie, whether it's a Hindi movie, whether it's a movie from the South, whether it's an American blockbuster, they have decoded that you have to give them experience reality as part of it. I don't know if you remember the last Spider-Man, the one which Andrew Garfield did. That Spider-Man had a release with the Oculus Rift across America. Oculus Rift is that VR headset. It didn't work, but the feedback was, I would rather watch a movie like this at home, feeling that I am watching it in a 4D experience in Cinemax or Inox. So the advertisers are continuously thinking, how do I position the modeling over there? Okay? On that note, I will stop and I will finish why we are saying it. When the brain, your left and right brain, when your frontal cortex in the next 10 years are driven by tech and ad tech and martech, and our normal life, day-to-day living is driven by a thumb or a finger or a headset, are we the normal human beings of 1940? Either you call yourself tech. Why 3.0? 1.0 was 5,000 years back. 2.0 was when we gained cognitive learning capabilities 200 years back, when we invented electricity, when we invented law of gravitation, when we invented radio frequency, which is driving today's telecom. 3.0 is completely tech and digital augmentation driven. Whether you like the word or not, it's not there. This is our third dimension. Because none of us today can ignore the impact of that device. That device has the power which took an Apollo mission landing in moon. That's the power of that computing space you have in that device. It doesn't matter. So that's where we are headed. So think, keep on observing, and keep on ensuring you question the whys, because someone else is trialing something out. On that note, thank you. Questions, if you have any. I think we've spoken, but if you have any dedicated questions, I'm happy to answer. I wasn't that good, was I? That you're completely numb? Okay, take a breath and think about what. So let me summarize and reiterate. We spoke about the futurism of branding powered by tech. Why is there nobody, largest of retailers, largest of banks, who are spending the biggest advertising revenue? You saw McDonald's and Louis Vuitton, barring it, they were all tech companies. Then we saw what is the current state. There is money 2.0, there is AI superintelligence, narrow intelligence, there is reasons why the planet is where we are today. Wars happening through the entire way, how we have promoted certain amount of positioning of our geopolitical scenario, we discussed that. Then we of course impacted where we are with the metaverse and mixed reality, how quickly they are getting adopted, and why. Just to summarize in 10 seconds, what is the definition of tomorrow's you, me, and my kids and their kids? That's a DigiHuman 3.0. That's the summary. Now you can ask any questions you want. Yes, please.
My name is Shashikant.
Hi, Shashikant.
And my question is related to news media organization.
Okay.
We have seen many channels and OTT platforms and what we call web portals and news sites are coming up. They are also trying to woo the readers and content consumptions. So what do you see the future of news consumption, creator and consumption in the country like India?
I have a very interesting answer to that. I don't know you will like it or not. You remember the Egypt war which happened a few years back? You remember what Sierra Leone happened? You remember what happened in Syria and Libya? And how the wars were started and how the wars were stopped? You know, where Barack Obama was criticized for not sending troops to end it. The wars happened because of YouTube, the wars ended because of YouTube. If you ask me, my gut as a techie, the future of news will be all of us going there and broadcasting through our smartphones, not media outlets. Pranay Roy will remain a legend. Barkha Dutt will remain a big legend. But tomorrow, if anything happens in Ladakh, at the territory, the Indian foot soldier has a smartphone. And there is a 5G network there. He will take it and upload it, and he will run and talk about it while he's running away from being chased or being shot at. Yes, well, literally it happened in exam. Thanks, Kasturi. It literally happened a few days in Bombay when Aditya reported what was happening to that Korean girl. Literally happened. There was no next day headlines. There was no after 2 hours Republic broadcasting it. It literally happened and it viral. So I think you, me and everyone will be a news anchor going forward, and that is right. That is the democratization of news which is needed, which is not bought. The buying is a business, I can understand. There's buying of news, there's sponsoring of news, there's editorials, there's op-eds. They might still remain. But clarity of news, I think will become individual. N equal to 1 ho jayega. My observation might be wrong. Yes. Yeah, take the mic.
Sorry, I joined late, first of all. So I recently saw Adidas has joined the Metaverse, gang. They've launched, their own thing online. Where do you think, or what should be the starting points for brands in India right now? Because this is happening, Metaverse is there to stay. And, we being a lot of business being family run, especially in a city like Ahmedabad. What do you recommend, especially on the FMCG, side, or because you're more ag tech, so this is slightly different, question.
I am tech.
Okay.
This session was on brand. That's why I made the session
Got it.
more driven that.
So I feel this is more, your forte in that case, because Adidas is already into the metaverse. It's already started. This is slightly new for India, especially for a city like Ahmedabad. What do you think should be the step 1, step 2, especially for a marketer?
You should build a metaverse, flaunt it, populate it, deploy it on the World Wide Web and see its adoption. Don't spend too much money. Deploy it and see its adoption. If it picks up, you might be the first one. If it fails, then observe how the market. It might be ahead of time for retail. It might be ahead of time for FMCG. Don't go by the noise. I'm just saying observe, experiment in the money you can afford to experiment it on. It is not mainstream today.
Exactly, that's...
Yeah. That would be my
Thank you,
advice.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Yes, go ahead. Here, go, just stand up and shout. What do you think?
I don't know.
No, what do you feel? You asked the question, what do you feel? You genuinely feel that it is a little bit like that, right?
Yeah.
It is. But it has been like that for 100 years. No, it was for the... No, I'm saying news print. Always had editorial, always had paid, always had classified.
And like TV news.
Or you're talking about TV news. No, it wasn't like that before. The reason why it has become? Because the watchability factor has become important. More people watch TV. Now people are spending more money on digital marketing spends than news media, but offline. But it is bent. It was always. Because people generally would watch news. People will go to the television and they will switch on the 9 o'clock in the morning or in the evening. So for marketeers, now you have to say that whether the news agency is ethical enough to allow that to happen. But how will they survive? If you put on their shoes, I can criticize them, but they have to pay their salaries and they have to run their news hold. They have to send people across. I think the question which you should ask is, isn't too much money being paid on classified, paid news on television? Because if you hear the numbers, how much enterprise organizations pay for a 9 o'clock news slot, it's astronomical. So I think it is going to not taper off with internet and social media and influencer marketing and all of us which is on our mobiles rather than television proper news modeling. Yes, Aditya.
So my question is, how would authenticity of anything be ensured in such a futuristic digital world? Because you can be shown anything and it can be conveyed as a truth, but that might not be the truth in the real world, right?
True.
So what would be the way to navigate these things?
So I think if you see today, I'll give you today's context. There's so much of fake products which get shipped out, even from the best retailers, online, offline, from Amazon. Sometimes they come broken, sometimes they don't come in the whole box. I think it will be regulated what sellers are uploading, whether it's an NFT coin, whether it's a physical cataloged product, or whether it's fundamentally something which you are virtually selling in the metaverse. They have to be governed and regulated on the seller side. So the seller uploads the product. Today in Amazon, the seller will upload it in the metaverse. Even if seller will create an NFT and they will upload, right? If the seller is verified, if the seller's product is genuinely moderated and verified and not allowed to be real-time and instantaneous, that's where regulation will be required. Because you have to govern the sellers first, then the consumers will feel confident.
So that brings a follow-up question, because even in a country like US today, when it comes to governance of internet, there are no clear laws, right? Yeah, but that is the reason why companies like Google, Facebook, and all are facing these suites in Europe and all. But
Yeah, what Aditya is saying is what Amazon and Google and Facebook are facing Senate inquiries based on the ethical violation of promise to the consumer. And there's a lot more sniffing of the data too.
so even now, like in India, just like I think this week there was a news that paid reviews will not be allowed on platforms.
That's the right
like
thing.
Amazon.
That's the right thing, because paid reviews skew up, because you pay, you, me, anybody over here in this room, you give them money, I will go and say, this new product of that new phone which has got launched is phenomenal. And I can populate that whole product detail page and make the conversion. A product detail page is the instrument of conversion to add to cart and then check out. If the product detail page has got great reviews, which is the way a lot of people buy, that's why I think it should be stopped immediately. Because we faced a wrath in Tata Click.
Because, I have a sister who is a cybersecurity expert in US, and basis my conversations with her, there are no digital laws,
There is not.
yeah, which can govern.
There are cyber laws in India now, which has been written by India and Israel together, but there's no digital promotion laws. It's still not there. I think those regulations will come in. Sorry.
It may sound repetitive, but in the same digital evolution, where do you see the value?
Can I take his question? Because he was raising his hand before you. Yeah.
So I want to ask a personal opinion from you. So you gave an example of what kind of business will run in a war-torn Ukraine after 5 years.
Yes.
So I want to ask regarding pertaining to India. Like I've been reading that by 2050 will be the largest middle class in the world,
Yes.
and the UPI transactions have already passed $48 billion last year. So what kind of businesses do you see thriving in India down the line 5 years or so, saying that it is going to be the next like second biggest economy in the world by said 2050? So
anything to do horizontally, anything to do with consumer internet.
no, but my question is regarding like, do you see manufacturing sector thriving more or service
Some
sector
co-
thriving more?
No, already they thrive more. Organized retail is 35. Can I sit, please? I'm a little tired. Organized retail is a 35-year-old industry. India's biggest revenue comes from which industry?
I think
No.
agri and manufacturing.
Agriculture.
Agriculture.
India's biggest revenue comes from agriculture, and our poor farmers are not taken care of. So that will augment, that will pivot. There will be more yarn bazaars appearing. Then there is manufacturing. See, manufacturing steel, manufacturing iron is not that easy. Automotive industry is an assembly industry. So I think our traditional industries will augment a lot more, because you will be able to pay the right salary what he or she deserves. If there is zero farmer suicides, our crop remedy solutions are all at par with the Germans or the Americans, then you organically have the harvest getting yield the most. So our traditional industries is the reason India is becoming the fifth. Don't think our .com industry is making that happen, or our SI industry of Wipro, Infosys and TCS is making that happen. Our oldest industries like agriculture, manufacturing, automotive, education, that industry is pivoting in and impacting our GDP, not our consumer internet.
And I have a very small question just to follow. So what do you think the role of Neuralink will be in the advertising down the line 5 years? Because I'm very interested in.
I would love to answer. There was a session earlier. I spoke a lot about Neuralink. Drop me a note. I'll write a lot about that.
No
too.
problem.
Because Neuralink is related to BCI, the brain computing interface part, where people are able to, at a vegetative state, at 9 o'clock, to their nurse are able to say, I want dal or chawal, and he's completely paralytic. So the world of Neuralink is going to be, you like something on Facebook, you love somebody's reel, in your mind you're happy, you're not smiling, and that like goes out. It is, but that's the world of Neuralink. I'm saying these will happen. Whether it's good or bad is for us to govern and judge. But the world of Neuralink, if you drop me a note, I'll send you a response on that. I just want one part. I know we can go on this one. My wife Kasturi is a student and an alumni of AMA, a student of Sanjay sir. And and she represents a lot of brand. I want her 2 minutes, which she wants to speak on AMA and what AMA means, and just a couple of minutes if you want to address, and then we'll close the session. No, I thought of it while looking at you actually.
This is the way of pulling my leg. I don't have any slides to present. I have a lot to say about that professor, but then I don't have much to say to them. And I don't think you want to hear me at all. You know, I'm Kasturi Banerjjee, and before I say any further, I just want to say, do you get those calls from Airtel and Vodafone, जहाँ वो लोग बोलते हैं कि आपके फैमिली में इतने सारे सिम कार्ड हैं, आपको एक फ्री मिल रहा है, सिम कार्ड, फ्री कार्ड, जबरदस्ती. I mean, this is so bad. Anyway, well, I've been a student here. It's fabulous to come back after 21 years and see my professor here, and what all he's taught, where we have taken, you know, like we were just talking about it, simple छोटे-छोटे जो चीजें उन्होंने सिखाए हैं, वो अभी तक मतलब इतना गहरा चला जाता है, and how far you take them. And now that I've come back and I see the changes here, it's fabulous. I'm so glad we came back. What else should I talk about now? Okay, now that I understand that some of you are already into small businesses and all, I will just quickly say something. There's something that I always believe in, the P's, okay, the basic P's of life. No, it's not P-E-A-C-E, it's P, as in if you have the passion for it, go for the practice, have perseverance, and then, you know, then you get perfection. But now with time I've realized that if you have the potential, only then you get somewhere. But I have also realized that, you know, I always believe that right here, right now, this is what happens when you're young. But take a break, and procrastination is the other P, which is not so bad as it is projected. Sometimes give yourself a break and take a backseat, look at what you've done, and rest. Because when you're running your own company or a startup, nobody is going to give you a work-life balance. Nobody's going to come and talk to you about that. Nobody's going to take you sessions for that. So you have to be that person, the bigger person, and then decide that it is time for me to take a break. So even to the students who's like supremely excited, getting up middle of the night writing notes like I used to do like 20 years back, I don't do that. Now I write notes and make projects for my sons. So I think you should take a break because you will burn up very quickly. I think that's all, and thank you so much for letting me speak and hearing my gibberish. Thank
you. Any more questions, or can we wrap up? I think it's 7:45. Yes, please,
about the ethics
I think you've had a question, so let him please.
Okay, so in the entire this digital evolution, and you know, we are looking at the future more engrossed with the entirely depending on the internet or IoT world. So where does this the value system, or where does the ethics get integrated, disappear or appear, or how would one distinguish?
No, I think we spoke about this, and it's
for the benefit of these.
It's worth spending a minute on this. See, there are two things which is very important to us. One is the value system. What is the value system? Anybody can answer? What our nana nanis, mom, dad, what our ecosystem, our mohalle ka uncle teaches you. This is good, this is bad. Simple. You can't hit somebody. You can't abuse somebody. You should respect somebody. Basic value system. Value systems turn into, you grow up, you become strong, you become confident, you become a great entrepreneur, you become a fantastic CEO, you become a fantastic techie, it becomes your belief system. See, belief systems and value systems have defined business world's ethics and conduct and policies. If you go to any company, Google's HR policy, if you go to Amazon, they call the 10 commandments, the tenets, Amazon calls it. Google calls it the pillars. Netflix doesn't have one. They only have 2 pillars. Netflix says our biggest pillar and our biggest competitor is sleep. So as long as we produce content and we can't let our customers sleep, now that gets questioned by the health community. For the entertainment community, that's the right value system. But for the health community, that's the wrong value system. Because sleep, you don't sleep, days in, days in, days in, days out, you'll collapse. So the ethical behavior and policies of every startup, every business have to be from the cultural tenets. And cultural tenets come from where you have grown up from. It's middle class tenets of India, which is extremely important because they will get questioned the most when you go and when you build your billion-dollar enterprises. When you do that, you will realize that what you got taught in school and college means a lot more than what you got taught in your first few years in work life. Because it goes back to one thing, and I have got many people, and this is an endorsement for hundreds of leadership and C-suite I've worked with and I currently work with. It goes back to one line, back to basics. If your basics are strong, your organization, your people, your attritions will be different. You would like to and love to work for an organization. You would like and love to work with colleagues, not go to somewhere where you work to get paid. Read an article by Patricia on the way the culture of Netflix changed the way appraisal process worked across the world. And now the whole continuous improvement, continuous performance has become part of every enterprise organization. So that's critical. On that note, let's finish because it's 7:45. Thank you.
I would request all of you to please fill the feedback form that we have kept for you. I would like to thank Mr. Sauvik Banerjjee and Ms. Kasturi Banerjjee for sharing her views. And I would again like to request all of you to give a very warm and a rousing hand of applause, because we don't, understand how busy of a schedule he might be having, where he is coming and sharing his views with us, right? And it is from the heart. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. And I'm sure, it was a very interesting and an engrossing session where, we could learn about how marketing will evolve in the future. But at the same point of time, we also discussed the ethical and the moral sides of it. And thank you so much to all of you for coming over here and making this talk a very interesting one. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.
I just want to thank a couple of people because I came in last evening, and I want to thank Sanjay. Thank you for bringing me to Ahmedabad after 22 years. And thanks to Sanjay, I was earlier in Thai. First thing in the morning, did another session, was with the CII just before here. Thank you, Shaleshji, for looking after me and giving me so much of support. Thank you to Umesh for organizing all the support and bringing such a young and such a vibrant audience with a smile. You guys have heard me out, and I promise not to be a stranger. Thank you.
Thank you. Please give your feedback forms, when you are leaving. Thank you so much.